Hi, welcome to another episode of Babes in Bookland. I'm your host, Alex Franca, and today I'm chatting about Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes, How to Dance It Out, Stand in the Sun, and Be Your Own Person with my friend Gina. Before we get to today's episode, I have another Apple Podcast review from my mom. She writes, Alex and her friends are wonderful to listen to, and I love learning about the various authors' journeys. What a beautiful way to feel connected as women. Thanks, Mom. You might be a little biased, but I'll take it. Let's get to the episode. Hi, Gina.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. So, what did you think of this book?
Honestly, I'm really glad I read it again because I read it 10 years ago when it first came out. And at that point in my life, I was a high profile nanny, not married, did not have children, did not have my own business, did not have any of that. And it still applied back then. And now I did it now. And I'm like, whoa, it applies in such a different way now. It's like, it's for everybody. But once I went through it again, I felt like I was reading it for the first time because it's through a totally different lens now, which was really cool. So
Yeah. This is the 10-year anniversary of this book. I thought it was just a really charming book. Shonda's voice is just so joyful and funny. She's so likable, and she just pulls you along the journey with her and makes you feel really capable of saying yes to yourself at the end of it.
Yeah, and she's very real. Like, she doesn't try to sugarcoat things that, like everything's perfect, and she's real, which I appreciate. And the first time I read it, I read the book. This time I listened to the audio book, and it was so cool that it was her voice and her personality coming out in all of it. It was really special.
Okay, so let's get into it. It was published in 2015, and this is her dedication. It's a long one, so stick with me. For Harper, Emerson, and Beckett, may every year be a year of yes. May you inherit a future that no longer requires you to be an FOD, which stands for first only different. And if it is the future and that hasn't happened yet, go ahead and start the revolution. Mommy says you can. Okay, that's kind of hitting me a little bit harder today than
I know
than it did when I read it a couple months ago. Also, for Dolores, for giving me permission to start my own private revolution and for saying yes to showing up every single time I've called your name. You are the FOD within the family. The 5 of us who came behind you, thank you for creating our second chances. So good.
Her sister Dolores, she said 6 words, led to this entire thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Talk to the people you love. Bring up these things. We'll get into it, what those 6 words were. Thank God Shonda had someone like this in her life, championing for her in her corner, and wasn't afraid to poke the bear.
Yeah.
It's easy to get stuck in complacency or in a routine that doesn't serve you, but is like the path of least resistance.
And what's comfortable. Like it's what you know.
Yeah. Or what you've convinced yourself is comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
True. Yeah. Yeah.
I like to start off each episode with quick topics, and these are very quick because we're just going to dive deep into her book very quickly. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know who Shonda Rhimes is, and she has created some of the most wonderful television over the past few decades. What is your favorite Shonda show?
Oh, I don't know. I like them all differently. I have to be honest now. I'm a humongous Bridgerton fan.
I mean, who isn't?
Like everything about it, because it's just beautiful and different, and even just down to the costumes and just all of it. I think Bridgerton's my favorite, but I don't know if that's because it's the newer one.
That's true.
I was a big Grey's fan for a long time.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've seen Scandal. And I really, really liked How to Get Away with Murder a lot.
The thing is, the lady doesn't miss.
No.
I totally agree with you. There's something about Grey's that is just very nostalgic for me. It started when we were in high school, and I remember sitting down and watching the pilot episode with my mom and just knowing something was different, that the landscape of television had shifted somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, she's done so much for women, for people of color, for underserved storylines, but Bridgerton's sexy as hell. So looking forward to the next season.
Yeah, I love Bridgerton, but it's true. So much for so many people. And I think she said somewhere in the book that she wants to have a character for everybody. Something along those lines, that she wants you to be able to relate with somebody in her stories.
Mm-hmm. She wants every single person, every little girl, every boy, every person to be able to flip
Yeah.
on one of her shows and say, oh, I see me.
Yes, she wants people to be able to see themselves in some way, no matter what. And I think that's a really powerful thing because there's so many different types of people.
Yeah, exactly.
Really cool. She's very mindful of that.
She is. Okay, and then the other quick topic, Shonda writes that her first job in high school was scooping ice cream at Baskin Robbins and that she's worked ever since. What was your first job, Gina?
Well, this is actually kind of funny. So, my first job, which is probably actually no surprise to you, was babysitting.
Okay.
And then I went on to be a nanny. I was so proud of myself. One day I decided, you know what? I'm going to do something different. Like all my friends worked in retail or worked in a restaurant. And I was like, I want to do that. So I was like, I'm going to take a break from babysitting. This was like in high school. And I got a job at Panera. So I got a job at Panera. I got the khaki pants.
Yes.
I got the polo shirts. I was so proud of myself for getting this job. I go one day for 4 hours of training and I go back the next day. There's a giant X on the door. There's nothing in the place.
Wait.
And it says seized on the outside of the door because the owner didn't pay his taxes. So here I am. I've got all my outfits. I'm so proud to go. And so it became a big joke that like I couldn't keep a job.
That's hilarious.
So we used to call it Panera Toast instead. So that was my one day doing anything other than what became career nannying.
But now you no longer nanny. You own your own business.
I do.
Tell our listeners what your business is, how they can find your information, and how they can have the best parties ever.
My company is Enchanted Events by Gina, and it's an event company for children that's basically custom events and custom crafts and kids' tables and custom favors, basically anything that's for a kid's party. My Instagram handle is at Enchanted Events by Gina, and I'm in the Denver area. But I have been known to put parties together for some Los Angeles friends that I have packaged up for them and sent. And I also have a big heart for helping kiddos in the hospital. Started to do a lot of work with Seacrest Studios at Children's Hospital, Colorado. And this year you may see me expanding a bit to the other Seacrest Studios across the nation.
Yay! Awesome. And seriously, your Instagram is so beautiful. The things that you do.
Thank you.
I am in awe. It's not just cupcake toppers. It's like you do the whole shebang. It's like Martha Stewart beautiful.
Thank
I'm
you.
Proud of you. You're kicking ass.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you more about that, diving deeper, because I think it relates to Shonda's memoir in many ways. Diving deeper into Shonda's Year of Yes. She starts off her book, it's so funny. She's like, I am a liar. And you're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But that's her whole thing, is that she uses her imagination. She turned lying into a career, and she does it really well. But writing about herself is not easy. She writes, writing about myself feels a lot like I have just decided to stand up on a table in a very proper restaurant, raise my dress, and show everyone I'm not wearing panties. That is to say, shocking. This book is laugh out loud. I loved it. And she continues, writing this book makes me feel uncomfortable. And that, dear reader, is the point. It's the whole thing, which is why I am writing it anyway. Being too comfortable is what started all of this in the first place. She's at Thanksgiving, and her sister Dolores says 6 words to her that rock her world. You never say yes to anything. And Dolores is the oldest sibling. Shonda's the youngest. There are 4 siblings between them, and they have a 12-year age gap. But Dolores is extremely important to her, and she values her thoughts and her opinions. Shonda writes, as a child, she was the role model of the kind of woman I was supposed to be. As an adult, she's one of my best friends. And I know you have a brother. Was he a confidant growing up, a protector, someone you could turn to?
He was 4.5, or he is 4.5 years older than me, 5 school years ahead. So I was a pesky younger sibling. And we have countless times of I did something that really irked him because I wanted to be like him, right? He's my big brother. So I always looked up to him, but I think I was like the pesky sister. I feel like it wasn't until he went to college and I was in high school, and then we started getting much closer on like a personal level, and like we could talk about things. I think the biggest thing for us is we have like a very funny relationship. We're both very sarcastic, mostly actually. Anytime something like really exciting and big happens for one of us, we try to undercut it every time. And that's just like our sibling thing. My brother recently got a big promotion at work. I was like, well, I wonder how many people they offered that job to before they gave it to you. Like stuff like
Oh, I
that.
love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
So it's
Yeah.
always that.
Okay.
Or like, and then he called me and was like, oh, dad told me for my promotion, he's never been more proud of anyone in his whole life. I'm like, oh, okay. So there's a lot of that. When I was looking to start a business, I definitely reached out to him for advice, kind of like in that world.
So you guys can joke with each other, but you can also get really serious when you need to.
I value his opinion and I know he'll be honest with me.
That's awesome. I think you guys have a really great relationship. Like if my kids had a similar relationship to you and your brother, I would consider that a win.
I hope my girls have a good relationship.
How are they right
God.
now? What's the age gap between them? 2.5 years?
2.5 years, yeah.
Your oldest is like becoming a kid, a little kid, and your youngest is still very much in toddler mode. Does your oldest have the patience for her, or is she kind of like, is it kind of like your brother and you?
It's actually the opposite, which is really funny.
Wow.
The older one is very, very sensitive. The younger one is like, doesn't have the time for it. She'll just look at her and it's like, get over it. And she's 2.5.
Too funny. So you talked a little bit about how your brother can be there for you. Do you have anyone else in your life that encourages you to grow or change? Maybe not dropping a truth bomb in your lap like Dolores did to Shonda, but in other ways?
I think the biggest thing people have done to push me is to know my worth in business, because I'm always like, well, no, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I also have this business, but like,
you almost like apologize for it?
Yeah, I apologize for it. And I also like try not to make a big deal out of it. And I get uncomfortable when people like tell me that my work is beautiful or whatever. I like get, which is obviously she mentions too, which I related to big time. There's a lot of things that I'm like, oh, I'm just going to do this for free for this person, or I'm going to do this for cheaper, or I'm not going to charge for this. And the number of people who are like, your work and your time is worth so much more than you're giving yourself credit for.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's probably the biggest thing for me, is like realizing that my time is valuable.
Yeah.
My creativity is worth something, rather than just like, oh, I love doing it, so I'm just going to do a bunch of stuff for free.
Yeah.
Like really encouraging me to charge what I should be charging.
Yeah. Good.
And really like put myself out there. That's what I have the hardest time with. And I think my family and friends really are helping me to realize that I am a businesswoman and I do have a business, and like I should be proud of it.
I'm glad you have them to help you see your worth and your value. When we can't quite get there ourselves, it's beautiful to have people who prop us up. So back to Shonda. Dolores asks Shonda if she said yes to any of the press events, parties, talk shows, conferences, etc. And Shonda is full of excuses. But as she reflects, she realizes that Dolores is right to call her out on this. This 6-word sentence, "you never say yes to anything," is a grenade dropped into Shonda's life. Dolores's remark really hits home about 6 weeks later. Shonda has returned from Washington, D.C., where she was appointed as a new trustee of the Kennedy Center, something she was told she had to go to. She wasn't really given a choice, because given a choice, she would have not gone. And it was this completely beautiful experience for her. And she realizes in that moment, if they had asked me to do this, if they had given me an out, I would have said no. And I would have missed this incredible experience. And she would have stood in her own way, which I think we are all so guilty of doing, standing in our own way, like she's done time and time again. And she asks herself, why would I have said no? And she comes to the conclusion, because it's scary. It's so scary to push yourself out of your comfort zone. What was that moment for you like, Gina, when you were like, I'm going to open up this beautiful party planning event service business? Talk me through that moment. What was that like for you to think about doing that? How long did it take you then to actually take the first steps?
About a year after like originally thinking it. I'm like doing these over the top parties for my own children and for friends, and just like I had all these really creative ideas and really cool stuff I used to do during when I was a nanny, and I felt like I had lost that.
That outlet in your life.
Yeah. My dream has always been to be a stay-at-home mom, and I put so much value in that, and I love it. But I felt like I lost an outlet, like I needed an outlet for myself. And when I first was like, gosh, I should really make this into something. And then I stopped. I did, because I was like, that's insane. I know nothing about running a business. What? And I knew everyone in my circle was going to be like, okay. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, right. It was very scary, but I feel like I approached it in a way that took the pressure off, because I just made it my own thing, and I just took on little by little. I knew both of my girls would be in full-time school about 2.5 years from when I started. So I was like, I'm just going to start it now, have it be a really casual thing, so that hopefully it's turning into something when they are both in school.
Yeah, when your time is freed up a little bit more.
Right. That was my original plan. And then it grew much faster than I thought, but still at a great pace. And I get to say yes when I want to and no when I want to make it
work for you.
Yeah, to work for me. But it was very hard to take that jump. Once I got business cards, I was like, oh, wait, I'm really doing this. I need to actually do this. That's the moment where I was like, oh, I'm actually doing it.
This is real. I have a business card printed. I have
a business card.
Okay, so getting back to Shonda, she writes, when the dust settles and everything is clear, I am left with one thought rattling through my head. I'm miserable. And she goes on to kind of chide herself, because she's like, look at what I have, and I'm claiming to be miserable. And she does the thing that we all do, where instead of validating and accepting our feelings, we compare. We compare ourselves to the plights of others, and we say, shame on me for even thinking I'm having a tough time when there are people who really are. And she writes, I know how fortunate I am. I have no delusions that I am suffering in any real, true way. And so it does embarrass me to say it. But she's like, this can't be it. This can't be having it all. I struggle with that a lot. Like Shonda, I know that I am in very fortunate circumstances, but at the end of the day, it's your life, and all you can do is live your reality. And yes, be compassionate and be empathetic. And Shonda props up other people. We know that about her. But that doesn't mean that she doesn't get to validate herself when she's not living the life that she wants to live. Do you feel like you do that in your life too?
Yeah, I do it a lot. Actually, someone said something really cool to me once, because, you complain about something, which maybe to you it's a big thing, and to someone else it's like they would die to be in your shoes, right? To have your life, to have all that. But you know what? Someone said both can be true. They said both can be true. It's not because you have something going on that it invalidates someone else. Yeah. Both can be true. So you can feel this way, and this person can feel this way about their circumstance or what's going on. And also, just because there might be something physical you can see of, like, this person has this amazing TV show, or this person has this gorgeous house, or whatever it is, you never know what somebody's mental health is like.
It's true.
Right? I have a really hard time, and I've actually had a lot of people in my life that if I'm down about something, they'll make a comment of like, so many people have it so much worse. It feels very dismissive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's like, so many people, like, let's just say you're having a hard time with your kids. Well, you only have 2 kids. People do this with 5 kids. It's like, it's not helpful. It's not compassionate.
Dismissing the way that you feel about something, trying to dismiss it, doesn't mean it actually goes away. It festers. And so that's kind of, I think, what was happening with Shonda at the beginning of this, when she was trying to be like, who am I to feel this way? Like, look at everything going right in my life. Look at all these beautiful blessings. It's like, but she still feels that way. You can't change that.
Right.
And of course, aiming for a life full of gratitude is a beautiful thing. But I think we also have to give ourselves permission to assess our lives, to feel our feelings without judgment, without comparison, so we can work towards living our best lives, however that looks. And I think in your heart, you know the difference between complaining about petty things and having valid feelings or an existential crisis, which is, I think, kind of what Shonda was having. She writes, I used to be a really happy person, a vibrant person. I may have been shy and introverted, but I had a rowdy, fun crowd of friends, some of whom I'd known since college. And with them around me, I would be dance on the table Shonda, drive to New Orleans at a moment's notice Shonda, adventurous and always up for anything Shonda. Where did she go? Have you ever had a shift like that in your life where you've had to like take stock and be like, okay, something's going on with me. What is it? And how do I address it?
Truly, I would say probably after having children,
Yeah.
because even though it's the best thing of my life, you lose your sense of self a little bit.
Yes.
And women are
Yes.
so expected to do everything. And
Carry the invisible load.
the
Mm-hmm.
invisible load, yes. So it's something you can't prepare for.
Mm-mm.
So I would say that was probably the biggest, like, where has the Gina that everyone knows? Like, I think I still was always that to everyone on the outside, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel like that on the inside, right? Stuff was but
Yeah.
again, the invisible load, like stuff was so much harder. And I also think that's part of the reason I wanted to get my creativity back and wanted to have my own thing on
Yeah.
top of being a mom, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a transformative
Right.
thing.
And beautiful. It's like
Yeah.
the best, but the hardest. And there's no breaks. There's no breaks.
It can be the most beautiful thing in your life. Yes. And it can be incredibly challenging and difficult sometimes.
Right.
Both can be true. But
Yeah.
but to have like other women acknowledge it,
Yeah.
such a relief.
Yeah. I've seen like a lot of Instagram reels or whatever that say, when you're complaining or having feelings about having a baby or kids crying or just a hard phase of life with little ones, a lot of people are like, oh, but you're going to miss those days. And it's like, yes, I am going to miss those days. And I do feel this way in this moment. It's not
Yeah.
saying like I don't love my kids. It's just right now is hard. But it's
Yeah.
always, I feel like there's always this comment back of like,
Like a
oh,
reprimand
oh, but you
almost.
wanted to be a mother. Like this is what you
Yeah.
signed up for. And it's like, yeah, but
Yeah. So we're not allowed to complain about
yeah,
it. We're not allowed to
like a
like,
lawyer comes home and is like, I had a really hard day today. I had a really hard. Well, you wanted to be a lawyer. Like that's not helpful.
no, gosh, I don't know. I think I would cut that person out of my life if somebody was like, well, remember, you wanted to be a mom. This is part of it. I would
Yeah,
be
it's part of
like,
it.
you're not helping me, Karen. Go away.
No, I know. Or like, oh, well, we did this and we raised kids. And I'm like, yeah, 40 years ago. And it was very different.
Very different, very different.
Yeah.
Although I will say I am right there with you with all of that. One thing that has helped me, well, a couple things that have really helped me just like get through the more challenging phases is finding my friends who are now moms and like being able to talk about it with them. My husband actually shared this thing that he read or saw somewhere about this slight adjustment that you can make in your thinking. The idea is you imagine yourself on your deathbed or, like 50 years from now, and then you imagine being able to restart your life at the exact moment you're currently in, and things would feel really different. Instead of feeling like I have to do this, I get to. I don't know. I've been trying to do that.
Hmm.
Just those boring chores,
Yeah.
Oh, I have to clean up after my kids again. Oh, I get to clean up after my kids again because they're still
Hmm.
little and they're not always going to be little. And like the Legos aren't always going to be on the floor. And it's like a less aggressive way than someone being like, you're going to miss this when it's gone.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, I will. But also, I haven't slept in a week.
Yeah.
So, like
Yeah.
the get to is like a privilege. So it makes you feel like grateful.
It just
Right.
completely flips the script in your
Yeah.
mind, doesn't it? I wanted to share that just because I completely validate everything that you're saying and feeling. I feel it too.
That's a good way to look at it, though. Cool.
There's still times where you're just going to be like, fuck. And that's fine too.
Yeah.
Like when they poop in the bath. Oh, I get to Clorox my
Oh,
bathtub out again.
that's the
Yay.
worst. We're finally past that stage.
Okay, so back to Shonda. She writes, I had no idea why I was unhappy. No specific moment or reason to point to. I just knew it was true. Whatever that spark is that makes each one of us alive and unique, mine had gone. The flickering flame responsible for lighting me up from the inside, making me glow, keeping me warm, my candle had blown out. I was shut down. I was tired and I was afraid. Small, quiet. She realizes it's time to start saying yes to things, to her life. Her birthday is January 13th, so she sets the challenge for herself. Say yes to anything and everything that scares her for 1 year and see what happens. She writes, my logic was this. Saying no had gotten me here. Here sucks. Saying yes might be my way to someplace better. If not a way to someplace better, at least to someplace different. And she knows that she'll do this because she's very, very competitive, which shout out, me too, Shonda. As Gina knows. And so she's going to hold herself accountable. She's believed in herself enough to rise to this challenge, even though it's scary. Okay, so we're going to talk about some of her yeses. The Jimmy Kimmel show. This is her first yes that she had to do, but not the first yes that she was asked about, which we'll get there. But this is the first yes she has to do. All right, so her publicist, Chris, calls her. Gina, do you know Chris?
I don't like to give him a lot of credit, but yes, Chris is my brother who used to be Shonda's publicist.
But now has gotten his huge promotion and will make your dad proud forever.
And my dad's never been so proud of anyone in his whole life.
So when I originally read this book, it was a couple years ago, and I was playing around with the idea of starting this podcast. And I'd always heard that her book was really great. You know, a lot of memoirs, these women deal with a lot of traumas. And I didn't want the podcast to just be this extremely heavy place. Inspirational and empowering, but, you know, like heavy stories. And so I was looking for kind of a lighter book, and somebody recommended this to me, and I'm reading it, and I read your brother's name. And I was like, I had just completely forgotten that he was Shonda's publicist at the time that it was written. And then so when I decided to do this book, I knew you were the one to talk to, not only because it's your brother, which is just a fun connection, but also so many other reasons, which obviously we've already been talking about. I just want to know, like, was it weird for him to be mentioned in her memoir?
Honestly, I don't even remember back when it came out. I believe, because I just listened to the audiobook, I believe there's even like a picture of him in it.
Yeah.
Aren't there pictures in it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Which is just so funny. But I give him a lot of credit because clearly he's one of the people that really knew what she was capable of.
Yeah. Wasn't afraid to push her.
Wasn't afraid to push her, but like in a gentle way, it seemed, you know, like reading through it.
Was it weird to see somebody that you know so well, like your brother, be written about in this way, like as like a supportive character in someone else's life in such a huge way? I feel like that would trip me out.
It kind of does, because I'm like, he's my brother. Like he's just Chris. He just recently became co-president of Shondaland. And I'm like, how? Like, he's just Chris. He's just Chris to me. But that also shows everyone's just a person.
Yeah.
Right? I think my brother has never been affected by someone's status, or like he treats them like humans, and they are humans. And I think that's why he does so well. And that's why he's likable. And that's why she's had him on her team forever. But yes, it's a little odd. It's a little odd to see him in a book.
I mean, he plays a fairly large role in Shonda's Year of Yes because she tries to back out of stuff, and he gently pushes her, like you said, and reminds her, don't forget, Shonda, you said this was your year of yes. Like, you can't say no to me. He helped her meet in the middle for some things, right? Like, especially in this first example with the Jimmy Kimmel thing, she knows she has to say yes to this. That's the entire challenge. But she is overcome with extreme anxiety. The same thing happens to her often when she has to speak in public. She calls herself a walking panic attack and writes about how she has completely blacked out during previous interviews, including Oprah. She literally cannot remember her Oprah interview, her first one. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of back and forth. Shonda being like, I cannot do this. And Chris reminding her, you have to say yes. Remember, this is your thing. She writes, I feel forced into this. I feel like I don't have a choice. My obligation to my network, plus my obligation to my year of yes, has trapped me. And she continues, this is going to be the longest year of my life. But like I mentioned earlier, they find a happy medium. They decide on a pre-recorded interview, even though it's called Jimmy Kimmel Live. I love that Chris was like, but it's called Live. And she's like, I can't, and good for her.
Yeah.
For baby steps, like, because if she had pushed herself to do this and it had gone horribly, maybe she would have backtracked on the entire year of yes, who knows? But she was like, I'm not ready to jump off the cliff, but I will, like, what is that? When you like take the rope and you go down slowly?
Like belay?
I don't think it's ballet.
That's not-
It is a word similar to what you just said, but not quite
like
that.
rock
But
climbing?
yeah, but when you go down backwards and you like kick off, that's gonna drive me
The
crazy.
belay is the person that's like, hold. Oh
I
my
don't think there's
God.
anybody called belay in rock climbing.
Yeah, you belay. You can self belay or somebody can belay for you.
Rappel. Okay, I'm trying to think
Oh God. This is going to be a 6-hour taping because he can't do anything.
of
You're right. Like, okay, so hold on. I'm going to get back to what you were saying now.
what does the word belay even mean?
To belay. That's the person who like holds the thing to like help you. A belay.
Okay.
Oh my God. I'm going to look
Okay.
it up right now. Belay. Belay and rock climbing. Ballet can help with rock climbing by improving flexibility, balance, and footwork. I'm not spelling it right.
You didn't spell it. You said it into your phone. You didn't even. Oh my God, I'm crying. Ugh, this is definitely making it into the extended version of this episode.
How do you think you would spell ballet?
Bilet? Like filet mignon.
Let me try again. Rock climbing, belay. Here it is. Belaying is a safety technique in rock climbing where a partner manages the rope to support the climber and prevent falls.
Oh my God, your brother was Shonda's belay. Bringing it back.
We got right back on track.
Oh my God.
Good thing you're leading this and I'm not. Oh my God. Yes, he was like her belay. Okay, to get back on track, I don't know what you said last, but you're right. And
you're like, I don't know what you said, but you're right. Oh my God.
I agree with what you said about they met in the middle, and good for her to say, I'm saying yes to this, but I need this to feel more comfortable, because she didn't say, I'm going to say yes to every single piece exactly as it unfolds. She still like stood her ground, and you can't expect someone to go from 0 to 100.
Especially with anxiety.
Oh,
that's not something that you can just like will away. That's
and
a
to
real
be
thing.
on a live show.
Yeah.
Oh, I could never.
I know. I mean, I hope to one day, but yeah. But so she writes, I said yes to something that terrified me, and then I did it, and I didn't die. So, baby steps.
Yeah.
It's a good check-in. Did this kill me?
Yeah.
No, it didn't. Here,
Yeah.
I'm still here. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, so another thing she said yes to was the Dartmouth College commencement speech. This request comes about a week after she started the Say Yes challenge. So this is her first yes that she has to say yes to. But she doesn't have to do the speech until her year is almost up. Shonda writes about turning to a group of women in an online networking group about her fears with public speaking and having to say this speech. Shonda admits to her group that the speech is looming and she hasn't written a word. And she's a writer. And her group gives her lots of great advice, including standing like Wonder Woman. Do you know what this is, Gina? Standing like Wonder Woman? Where you just kind of like put your hands on your hips and put your feet, wider than shoulder, hip width, stand tall and proud. I've done this before when I've been nervous before a big audition or a big meeting. I'll pop into the bathroom and go into a stall if someone's in there and do this. How do you handle your nerves? Do you get nervous before meeting with a new client?
Not really. I feel like it's funny because I always take the safe route. You may notice I purposely, like a lot of people film themselves on Instagram, right? To like show what they're doing or show what they're setting up or be like, hey, I'm going to a setup today, stuff like that. I don't do that. I'm just like uncomfortable being on camera.
Okay.
And people said, we need to see your face more to see like the face behind the account and you actually doing stuff. And I'm like, no. So I'm still in that where I need to get out of my comfort zone more and like, do the Wonder Woman stance and be like, hey,
yeah,
I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to bring you along to come with me to set up a party today and set up a table.
Yeah.
So I need to get there. I need to do it. And you'll be the first to know when I do my Wonder Woman stance.
Send me a picture of you Wonder Woman.
I will.
But good for you for doing it your way until you're ready to take that next step.
Yeah.
Because the thing about social media too, I don't like social media, but I know that it's kind of the game I have to play in order to help, get my product out there. So it's like, how do I do it so that it doesn't kill my soul?
Yeah, because it's really time consuming as it is.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine for you. Yeah.
It's like another full-time job. And it's, if I could do without it, I would do without it, but I can't.
Right. It's an important part, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah.
In this section where she's talking about the Dartmouth speech, she also writes about mommy wars, admitting that, quote, the only mommy I am ever at war with is me. And her daughters are quick to remind Shonda of the things that she misses with them. She writes, keeping up with 3 children, sleeping, working, and writing, and trying to do it all has been kicking my ass lately. So, Gina, we've already talked about the fact that you are the mother to 2 beautiful girls. You have this thriving new business. How do you do it all? Do you cut yourself some slack? How are you still standing here today?
It's hard. It's really hard. And this sort of ties into one of the other things she says is if, one area is, I don't have the quote directly, but like one area is doing amazing, like everything at work is going amazing, then she's dropping the ball with her kids or vice versa. And I feel the same way. I'll have a day where I'm like really proud because I actually put a party on social media finally, or I just, spent all day Saturday doing a beautiful event, but then it's like I missed something else. And especially my oldest will be the first one to be like, Mommy, you've been on your phone a lot. It's hard to balance it all, but your kids will always remind you of the things you forget or that you don't do, especially when they were used to me being 100% mom with no other job. They never knew me to have anything. One thing that has helped me, though, is I include them in a lot of it. And luckily, because mine is events for children, they get excited about different things that they can help with or that they can help me set up or brainstorm ideas for like a fun craft. So including them in it, it's fun for them. It makes them more aware of what I'm doing and not just like I'm going to work. It's actually like fun, but it's hard to do it all. You can't do it all. One area is always drowning. One area is, either
It's a trade-off.
The laundry's piling up. Yeah. And we're out having a super fun day, or we're just home and I get everything done, but I'm like, that was a waste of a Saturday. Yeah. It's like, it's there. You can't, you have to find balance to do it all, but at different times. I think that's the important part is like, do it all at different times and try not to put pressure on yourself of, everything has to be Pinterest perfect all the time.
I struggle with the same thing, trying to find that balance. But it's hard because I also want to achieve something for myself, something that takes a lot of time.
And it's important to know that for them to see that you can do both.
Yeah.
And that you do take care of yourself and you do take care of your needs and follow your passions. It's all important for them.
Yeah. Okay. So Shonda writes this at one point in this part. She writes, my kids are not my friends. They are my children. My goal is not to get them to like me. My goal is to raise citizens, which I just loved.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of philosophies floating out there. And when it comes to social media, there's a lot of like comparisons happening. But this is kind of the philosophy that I subscribe to. I want my kids to love me and respect me, but like I'm not their friend. I am their parent. And my job is to help guide them and hopefully encourage them and teach them how to be a part of a larger situation.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like I get stuck sometimes being too like soft with them, and I'm like, oh, I just want to protect them because they're little. But a lot of times, like especially with my 5-year-old, she has to learn a lot of lessons. And we teach her how the world works. And not everywhere is going to be like home. And there's always going to be people that put you down or whatever it may be, but just teaching them to be good people. That's the most important thing, and to respect themselves and to be strong and to have a voice. But one of our biggest things is to be gentle and to be kind. We have a lot of conversations about being gentle and being kind
to the world and to yourself.
To both. And we teach them that even though you're gentle and kind to others, they won't always be that way back.
Yeah.
But that's how the world works. And that's what we want to instill in them. But also like use your voice and stand up for yourself and be brave and be strong. And, to also teach them like they can be whatever they want to be.
Yeah.
And to have the confidence to believe in themselves.
Yeah.
And to be proud of themselves.
Yeah.
Self-esteem.
Yeah, you're creating that voice inside their head too. The one that we all live with, and we have to like unlearn things and recondition ourselves, and you're just setting them up with such a great foundation.
Yeah.
So back to the speech, Shonda nails it. You can watch it on YouTube, and she is poised and confident, and it's really a really great speech. She writes about how you can literally see her take a breath to center herself, and here are a few of her pointers. She writes, "Be a doer, not a dreamer. You just have to keep moving forward. You just have to keep doing something, seizing the next opportunity, staying open to trying something new." And I loved that because I think that like being a dreamer feels very passive. Being a doer, and we need doers right now. We need people who are ready to do the work.
Yeah.
She did this speech many years ago, but it's still timely. I'll link it in the show notes so that everybody else can check it out. Another thing she says yes to is playing with her children. The year of yes is keeping her very busy, turning her into a social butterfly, and it's great, except, quote, "It felt like I was everywhere, and I was. Everywhere it seemed, but at home." And this goes into what you said about how she mentions, one part of her life is doing really well, and then another part of her life isn't going as well. And she talks about how she is all dressed up to go to this fancy event. She's in a ball gown, and her daughter Emerson comes running towards her, asking her to play. Shonda writes, "I could bend down, grab her hands in mine, give her a soft kiss, and tell her, no, mama has to go. Mama can't be late." She writes that she could do this. It'd be well within her right, but she realizes something. Her daughters are changing, growing up, and she is missing it. So she kicks off her designer shoes and she plays with her daughters. And she writes about how she tries to incorporate this idea of play into her life more. And she makes a decision that part of her year of yes is saying yes whenever her daughters ask her to play, because that is her happy place. And she writes, "It may be different for you, your happy place, your joy, the place where life feels more good than not good. This yes is about giving yourself the permission to shift the focus of what is a priority from what's good for you over to what makes you feel good." And she encourages her readers to set aside a small time, even 15 minutes, dedicated to play. And it doesn't mean playing with kids, but it's just like, as adults, we get into such like work mode. There's a lot of shit to do. We have a lot of responsibilities. It's true.
Yeah.
Play, color. Those adult coloring books, they're fun. They make these Lego sets that are like fantastic
And beautiful. Yeah.
and you feel accomplished when it's done. You owe it to yourself, and you owe it to that side of your soul. Part of living is like finding the joy in things.
Yeah.
Okay, another yes that she says is to her body. She writes, "I will not be told what size to be. I do not care about anyone else's judgment about my body. I'm not interested in anyone else's ideas of what I'm supposed to look like. I believe everyone's body is theirs, and everyone has a right to love their body in whatever size and shape and package it comes in. I will fight for anyone's right to do so. I will kick ass and take names if I have to. Your body is yours. My body is mine. No one's body's up for comment, no matter how small, how large, how curvy, how flat. If you love you, then I love you. But this is about loving me. I don't feel good. And while part of me means it emotionally, I mostly mean it physically." So she chronicles her personal journey to a body that she feels better in. She has less joint pain, more energy. I don't ever really like to talk about other women's bodies. And so like that was her journey. And I wanted to mention it because it was one of her yeses, but we're just going to move forward. This was the big one. Yes, thank you. Accepting and receiving compliments as women without downplaying our worth. And we've talked about this, but she writes about how she's being honored with Hollywood reporter Sherry Lansing Award, and she's giving a speech at the event. The speech part doesn't make her sweat anymore, but she's kind of being, she's taken aback by being the recipient of this award. And she asks Chris, "Seriously, me? Why?" And the award committee sends her a written reason why she was selected. And she writes, "The main thing that it said was I was getting the award in recognition of breaking through the industry's glass ceiling as a woman and as an African American." And this concerns her. She writes, "I know that this isn't an award because I'm a woman or because I'm African American. I know that it's really about breaking glass ceilings that exist in the face of being a woman and in this very male, very white town. But I haven't broken through any glass ceilings." She's like, if I had broken through a glass ceiling, I'd know it, right? I'd feel the air on my face. I'd be on the other side. She writes that she doesn't feel like she's done that because of all the incredible women who came before her, who really did that. And she thinks of them. She writes, "How many women had to hit the glass before the first crack appeared? How many cuts did they get? How many bruises? How hard did they have to hit that ceiling? When I finally hit that ceiling, it exploded into dust. Like that. My sisters who went before me had already handled it. Making it through the glass ceiling to the other side was simply a matter of running on a path created by every other woman's footprints." I just like melted when I read that. I thought that was so powerful. And it feels like right now there's like a movement amongst women
Yeah.
to do this. We kind of had hoped it like sort of had already been done. Okay, fine. We still have work to do. We will. So that like when our daughters get to this glass ceiling, poof, it's dust.
Yeah.
That's my hope. She writes about how hard it is to accept that she is like an awesome woman.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a hard time doing that too.
I don't know why, but when I listen to her talking about that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. But you're right. It's like most women. And it's so crazy to think if you just say, like, thank you,
You just accept the compliment.
just accept it, then you're afraid that people are going to think you're like really into yourself or really snobby. Like, that's so crazy. That's accepting a compliment actually makes you feel like people then think you think you're better than everybody else. It's a really weird thing. And I definitely do that a lot. When people give me a compliment, after reading that, it makes me want to be better at just saying thank you, not thank you with an explanation behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Just thank you. But it's a really hard thing to
It's
do.
a hard thing to bite your tongue, have there be a period at the end of that. I know for me, like if somebody
Mm-hmm.
pays me a compliment, I'm like, thank you. And then I turn around and I like want to pay them a compliment too. Like I want to even out their compliment with my compliment.
Yes, I feel like I have to have a reason to like,
You have to have a different response
I,
than thank
I
you.
don't
Yeah.
know. Yes. And I try to think actually if there's anyone I know that doesn't do that. And I don't think I know anyone who just like says thank you.
Well, men, maybe the men in your life.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
women. Sorry, I guess I'm talking about women. Like, no. Oh, yeah, totally.
Right.
Men are just like,
Thanks.
thanks.
Yeah. You know what? We can stop it now. We can teach our daughters. Just say thank you.
Yeah. No, and now that you say that, it's so interesting with my daughter. I do. And they say thank you. And that's the end of it.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I don't try to push aside their compliments,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they're still little, so they don't feel the need to have an explanation.
It's just this thing that we've been conditioned to do. And so you have to like notice it, and Shonda's
Hmm.
book helps us notice it. And
Yeah.
now you just do your best moving forward to like bite your tongue back, not say the
Hmm.
quip, just say thank you and keep walking.
And see, my fear is then someone's gonna like look at me like,
But who
well,
cares?
you're,
Like you don't know that
but
person.
who
Yeah.
cares? You're right. And they're giving you a compliment, so you should say thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. It's the polite
it's so
thing to do.
silly.
I know. I know.
You didn't, yeah.
Okay, Gina, we're challenging ourselves and each other. Just say thank you moving forward. Okay, there are more yeses and more info in all of these yeses in her memoir, but those were the ones that really spoke to me. And one of the final things is that no can actually be the biggest yes. And she
Hmm.
writes a few examples of how an outward no was actually a yes to herself, sticking to her guns when not wanting to cast someone the network really liked for Christina Yang, and then having the incredible Sandra Oh happen. Even though this happened before her year of yes, she uses it as an example. Not giving a friend a large amount of money as a loan, and other examples. So that
Yeah.
was an awkward part. And she drops this bomb that during this year, she's in a relationship with a man and is contemplating marrying him, even though she never really wanted to get married. But this man asks her, and she feels pressured to do it to keep him, pressured by society's expectations of women. I mean,
Hmm.
what kind of woman doesn't want to get married? And she
Hmm.
admits that she got caught up in his love and enthusiasm and allowed him to think that it was possible. She writes, "The problem is that I'm supposed to be getting married in the summer, and I still do not want to get married. I do not think I'm ever going to want to get married. That is the problem." And Shonda loves romance. I mean, hello, Bridgerton. She loves
Yeah.
love, but she doesn't want to get
Hmm.
married. And she ends up breaking it off with this guy, and she feels relief. And she tells us we can judge her, but she was very happy to say no to that marriage. And she didn't walk out of planning that wedding. She danced.
Hmm.
She writes, "My happy ending is not the same as your happy ending. We all spend our lives kicking the crap out of ourselves for not being this way or that way, not having this thing or that thing, not being like this person or that person, for not living up to some standard we think applies across the board to all of us. We all spend our lives trying to follow the same path, live by the same rules. I think we believe that happiness lies in following the same list of rules, in being more like everyone else. There's not a list of rules. There's only one rule. The rule is there are no rules. Happiness comes from being who you are instead of who you think you are supposed to be." Amen.
That's huge.
It's huge. Such a brilliant way to put it, too. Happiness comes from being who you are instead of who you think you're
Yeah.
supposed to be.
And I feel like there's so many things that, especially as women, we don't even think about that are just expected of us.
Yeah.
Like that, for instance, like people are like, what do you mean you don't want to get married?
Mm-hmm. What do you mean you don't want to
Like,
have kids? What you're here
yeah,
to
you don't
do?
have kids.
Well, not really. I'm here to live my life and choose my own adventure. This is a choose your own adventure story, right?
Yeah, it's fascinating to me because I think there's a lot of things we do that it's like, well, this is expected.
Yeah.
Even just women carrying the invisible load.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
And the more we talk about it, the more that we can change it for future generations. I think we're changing it in our generation,
Yeah.
making different decisions, not apologizing for
Yeah.
it. Some of these things like the invisible load, these things that like we need to make visible. And I think they are. I do think they are.
Yeah, I think there's definitely more light put on those things now.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that she's like, hey, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a big thing to take. It's like, it's a big decision to
Yeah.
make. Yeah.
And guess what? She's allowed to change her mind one day too, if she does.
Right.
You can feel something's right for you until you feel it's no longer right for you.
And what a important thing to say no to.
Yes.
That's a big, big decision. That's not one that you make and then it's like, oh, I changed my mind the next day. Like a lot comes with that.
Yeah.
So to know when to say yes and when to say no, super important.
Yeah. She's like, well, I married him because I was in my year of yes.
Yes, to make care of yes.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, so we got
That's their
married.
vows. There's another kind of controversial topic that she brings up that I know you have a lot of experience with. So Shonda writes about nannies and her village, and she writes about this woman named Jenny McCarthy. No, not that Jenny McCarthy. Her nanny, Jenny McCarthy. She writes about feeling really uncomfortable talking about Jenny when asked how she does it all. She writes, I just didn't want to say it because no one else ever said it. I read a lot of books written by and about working women, and I'm struck by the fact that no one ever seems to want to talk about having help at home, which I think is not helpful to the women who don't have help at home. She equates this feeling to a moment when she was younger and she spent a lot of time and effort trying to have hair as incredible as Whitney Houston's until she's finally told that Whitney Houston was wearing a wig. And Shonda's mind is just blown because she's like, well, of course my hair would never be as good as a wig. Like, which I loved that. I thought that was so
That's
funny.
actually hilarious.
And she writes, powerful women don't say out loud that they have help at home, that they have nannies, housekeepers, chefs, assistants, stylists, whatever it is that they have to keep their world spinning. They don't say out loud that they have these people at home doing these jobs because they are ashamed. Or maybe a more precise way is to say that these women have been shamed. So, Gina, you've already said you were a high-profile nanny, a nanny to high-profile women and men to families.
Yeah.
Were you kind of like, without giving away any information really, but like, you know, being your friend during this time, like you did a lot more than just like watching the kids. Like you wore many hats,
Yeah.
some of which you were not paid for.
Right. I think this goes for all nannies, but especially in the high profile world. Yeah, I think it's very common to feel like that and feel like you're honestly not appreciated and you're there for service and that's it. And it's very interesting because this part of the book I remember resonated with me the first time I read it and was one of the main things that did at the time. Whereas now I have children, I have my own business, I'm married. But both times I've read this, that piece really sticks out to me because I was a high profile nanny. I worked many, many hours. I did some really amazing, cool stuff. But also some of the things that happened during that time is like, it almost feels like it's not even real. The things that I either was asked to do. It did feel like most nannies that I knew basically ran the household and took care of everything. And the parents, especially the moms, were really the ones who acted like they did it all. Right. And I always took kind of offense to that.
Sure.
Because it just feels unfair.
And it's like, why?
But also, now looking back, I sort of get it. You don't want to say, oh, I have a child, but someone else is with them 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week. Because then they hear like, well, why did you even have kids? And like, that's really sad. I will say I was fortunate enough to work for families who really loved their children a lot. And it was very evident and they really were present. So that was cool. I also, before moving to Colorado, worked for a family who truly, truly were so grateful for me and cared about me as a human and cared about my life outside of work and about my family and eventually my husband and a child. And that was really special because it felt like, Shonda saying, I don't do it alone. I have this wonderful person who helps. And that's how the family I most recently worked for before I stopped nannying. It was a total flip and it was the most wonderful relationship. And they still thank me all the time. And it's a really cool thing, but I do see the flip side now of just feeling like they shouldn't be shamed for that. You're working. You have to have help.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you have help. So why is there still this like pretending I don't? I still see women on talk shows all the time where people are like, how do you deal with having so many kids, without like naming names? How do you deal with having so many kids? And they're like, oh, I just love it. So I just make it my priority. And it's like, I know for a fact you have a chef, you have housekeepers around the clock,
Yeah.
you have a team of nannies.
Yeah.
There's just so much. And it's sad for the people who are working so hard to take care of these children. But it's also sad that moms feel shame, that they feel like they can't say that they have help.
I know. I feel like it's just a
So,
disservice across the board. It's a disservice to
across
the
the
people
board.
who are helping you raise your family. It's a
Yeah.
disservice to each other by not admitting it.
Yeah.
Like I had a nanny. I mean, honestly, we had to have a nanny. My son was a contact napper and I just needed some time to myself.
Oh.
I love her, my nanny. She still helps us out every once in a while, like babysitting now. Yeah, there were times where I felt guilty for having her because it was like,
Yeah.
shouldn't I be the one with my kids 24/7? But like, no, I'm trying to get a business off the ground. Like I have creative pursuits and, we're able to do that. And then when you really think about it, like we don't have grandparents nearby that can stop in and help us out. And like nobody ever feels shame being like, oh yeah, my mother is watching the baby. You know what I mean? But it's like, oh, if you pay someone to watch your kid, then it like shifts the dynamic. And so like Shonda,
Right.
I admit I had a nanny.
Good for you.
Thanks. I'm just taking a cue from Shonda.
Well, and I feel like just in general in the whole book, she says so many things that people in general can just relate to, but women specifically can relate to and didn't even realize it, but I didn't even realize it. Like there are so many things that she said and I'm like, oh, I do that 1,000%, or I do, and it's like we do so many things without even realizing it. And she really shines a light on it in a really interesting way.
She's a professional observer. I think all writers, she writes characters by seeing people in real life. That's what she does. And so she sees things and can acknowledge things that maybe we're blinded by or like haven't taken the time to do. And so I love this book. It's a book that like you want to give your friends and you're like, I know this was written 10 years ago, but I promise you, read it now. Like it's a timeless situation.
It's a timeless situation. Like I said, I read it 10 years ago and was like, wow, this is powerful. And I can relate to all these things. Just did again. And it relates to me in all different ways and to a whole different degree. And what I like about it is just by her starting to say yes to speaking engagements, herself, her health, her kids, all the things, playing, it was like a snowball effect. And she started like
she changed her life.
Noticing and changing. Yeah, changed her life. And it really did. It's fascinating. Like I would like her to do a follow-up like 10 years later, like right now.
Yeah.
Doing this Year of Yes 10 years ago. What's been the ripple effect? Like what else has happened since then? Because at the end when she said, okay, I'm at the end of my year. What do I do?
What now?
Like, do I go back to, or do I,
She couldn't go back at that point. She had been too
you
changed. She had reconditioned herself, which is what it is. She changed your habit.
Yeah, like she got to the point where like going to these fancy events and speaking engagements and stuff, there was no anxiety there. It was like second nature to her, which is so, so fascinating. And it also shows you no matter where you are in life, no matter how old you are, no matter what's going on, there's always so much room for change.
Yeah. And for growth. Yes.
And for growth. Yeah. For growth.
You just have to be brave enough to step outside of your comfort zone. Just say yes to yourself because you deserve it.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
And not worry so much about what other people are going to say or think. They're actually, okay, my favorite quote from the book, actually, there's so many, but one of them is she said that her father told her the only limit to your success is your own imagination. And I feel like that was so powerful.
Yeah.
Because it's true. You could do anything you want. You can do, but if you don't think you can, you can't. I think there's so many times we hold ourselves back by being like, this is over my head. This is, too big for me. Who would want me to do this? But like, that's what holds you back. And it's your imagination. It's these things you're making up in your head. And it's true. It's really, really true.
Yeah. I read
It's
something
powerful.
recently where I'm going to paraphrase the shit out of this, but it was basically like the people who get ahead don't know how to do anything more than you do. They just thought that they could.
Interesting.
And I was like, yeah, what happens if we
Yeah.
think we can? What happens if we say yes to ourselves?
Yeah.
So before we wrap up the episode, we cannot talk about this memoir without bringing up dancing it out because that's like the big thing that she loves to do. She constantly refers to dancing it out. She has Christina and Meredith dance it out during their last moments together on Grey's Anatomy, which she rates a lot about cultivating that moment. And to me, it's being in your joy, being present with yourself. And yes, I think it's literally dancing it out. Like when you're having a bad day or you're in a mood, dancing makes you feel really good. I have a song that I love to put on. And speaking of Whitney Houston, it's Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston.
Oh,
it's a great song. Do you have a song that like is just this song comes on, like your mood is instantly lifted, or if you're in a funk?
I mean,
tell me it's an Usher song.
It's any Usher song. Let's be honest. It's any Usher song. A lot of the Usher songs that I love, though, are like some of his
like
really
slow jams,
oldies but goodies. Yeah, like "You Got It Bad" is
so
my
good.
most favorite Usher song of all time. But yeah, is really fun. That's a fun one. There's a lot of fun ones, but any Usher song
makes you happy.
I'm in a good mood.
You just watch his Super Bowl performance on repeat, on repeat, on repeat.
I got more text messages during the Super Bowl when he performed than I think I like figured it out. It was like more texts than I did on my wedding day, the birth of my children. I got texts from people I haven't heard from in like 10 years being like, all I can think of is you right now during this performance. Like it was hilarious.
I love it. Well, you got to meet him, didn't I? I saw a picture of you with him. How did that happen?
Yeah, and I froze. It's like Shonda when she had her. Was it the Oprah interview?
Yeah,
the first
one.
Whatever.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't remember any of it. Oh, I completely froze. I did. I met him at Jimmy Kimmel Live. Actually, funny enough.
Wow, we're just bringing it all back together. I love it.
There's a lot of connections there, but I worked for someone that worked on the show. She was the best. And she's like, I never ask for anything, but I know how much you love Usher. She's
God.
like, so I'm going to ask if you can have a meet and greet. I was like, okay. And I'll never forget when I got there, she came out to meet me and I was like, I can't do it. I'm going to throw up. I can't meet him. I'm going to throw up. And she's like, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. This other woman on the show went with me because I couldn't go by myself because I was frozen. And I basically said nothing. And the other woman was like, we're really big fans. Like, who even knows? She's probably not even. And she's like, we're really big fans of yours. And we love your songs and all this stuff. And I just like stood there smiling. But then he was like back the next day to film something or I don't know. And I was there again. He saw me in the hall and he's like, I remember you. And I was like, oh. So now I have it in my head that he's always going to remember.
He remembers you.
And he's not.
He's like, I will remember that creepy girl that just smiled at me.
That's so weird.
The whole time.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Gina. Well,
That's just the love of my life.
Don't tell your husband.
Cut that out.
Thank you so much for discussing Shonda's Year of Yes with me today. It was so fun chatting with you and we laughed a lot and this was just a joyful book and you're just a joyful person for me to talk about it with. So I'm just in a good mood right now.
I know. Me too. See, we're dancing it out. That's what we're doing. We're dancing it out over Zoom.
I love it.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun and such a fun read. Also, wait, I have one thing to discuss.
Yes.
Did you catch this? And I actually called my brother today and was like, did you know in the book twice? One time she just says dear reader. And one time she says, dear gentle reader. And he's like, she did? Because I was like, this is way before the Bridgerton days. He's like, she did? And I was like, yes. And I caught it now that Bridgerton's down. I'm like, is that where it came from?
Well, okay, so I quoted it earlier. I said, dear reader, and I
Dear
almost
reader.
brought it up to you, and I was like, no.
But did you know there's another one that's dear gentle reader?
I might have missed it,
It was like foreshadowing of Bridgerton.
And here's the thing, like, as a writer, you write, like, it is her voice in the, you know what I mean? Like, but that's very cool.
But it felt like she knew 10 years ago that Bridgerton was coming.
All the stars were starting to align. This gift she was going to give all of us.
And now there's a new show coming out, The Residence with Uzo Aduba. It's like a murder mystery in the White House. Something.
Yes. Okay. I saw the ad for that. Okay.
And it's supposed to be really good. So,
well, she hasn't failed us. So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah. I believe it. Thank you so much, Gina, for joining me today. Before I let you go, I want to plug you one more time. Enchanted Events by Gina. You can visit her at enchantedeventsbygina.com, and her Instagram is at enchantedeventsbygina. Check it out. She has some really beautiful stuff. And if you are lucky to be in the Denver area, you should use her to plan your party because it will be a dream. Okay, Gina, you put on Usher. I'm going to put on Whitney. Let's dance it out.
Great.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
You just listened to an extended episode of Babes in Bookland. Thank you so much for your support.